a try with a live stream whilst I'm driving in the car. I don't know if the audio is going to be pretty decent or not. I'll tell you what though, sitting under a tree is not a good idea in the car. Oh, that's better. I can actually see out the window now. So I'm obviously going to the gym, and I thought actually I'd try this sort of like new routine of maybe trying to set the video up in the car whilst I'm driving, because I've kind of got this like setup thing for, or holder thing for when I'm actually doing like long drives to places, if it's either for work or if I'm off to go and see my best friends. There we go. And I got thinking about one of the things that I really like with going to the gym. Now, most people tend to think about the aspect of like, well, you know, you go to the gym because, you know, you get fit, it makes you feel good, it increases your strength, and of course the big one that, you know, it impresses all the ladies, and you know they're going to be wooed because you've got like really big muscles and so on. But I think really for me, one of the big aspects that I love with going to the gym is the fact that it really teaches routine. It teaches discipline. It teaches you to constantly show up every single day, understanding. And it was probably until one thing, when I was part of a placebo experiment, that kind of like opened my eyes to this huge understanding that maybe I was being my own worst enemy by not committing to something and trying to do something on a regular basis so I could get better at it. And whatever kind of like thing that you've got going on in your life where, you know, you want to develop a skill, whether it's for like work or I guess the gym, or, you know, in this field of dating where, you know, if you're someone who doesn't have good conversation skills, or you feel like you're getting rejected a lot, like you have to still keep showing up. You have to still keep going out and talking to people. You can't just sort of like write it off, because that's not going to do you any justice, and you're not going to push past that issue of hang on, let's let this car go. Okay, you're not going to push past the issue of actually getting somewhere, and getting to a level that you're going to be content with. You know, so it takes discipline, it takes routine, showing up every single time to get better. And I think probably even in the dating industry, when I've gone out and done a lot of approaching, I've had days where it has just been absolute shit. It's been awful and I've hated it. Or what I found when I visited my friend, the city that he's living in isn't that big, and we found it grueling doing laps over and over and over again in the same areas, but we stuck with it. Now, okay, I wasn't able to get as many in-field videos as I wanted to whilst I was with him, so I mean, you know, it was what it was, but it was just funny how different we felt once the camera was away. There was a little bit less pressure on that, and we committed ourselves to still coming out every day for 4 or 5 hours for the entire week to try and practice our conversation skills and constantly just speaking to people. And it didn't matter if it was for dating, it didn't really matter, you know, we were trying to sort of like pick people up and get numbers. He got, I think, 1 or 2 numbers, and I got 1 or 2 numbers in the end. But you know what? That happened by at least being consistent and going out and trying to do something. However few people there were to speak to, because it really was not a great city. In fact, comparing it to London, the amount of people that I think I spoke to in the week, you'd probably be able to do that in a day in London. So yeah, it was what it was. But anyway, I sort of digress there. So this is something that I do like again with going to the gym, is that it creates that routine. You have to show up every single time, every single day maybe, and just do some kind of rep. In fact, it's probably a really great metaphor really for life. Don't think that you're just going to turn up somewhere and you're just going to be great straight away. Like, you've got to work on it. You've got to start small and build up incrementally, and then do something that's a bit more challenging at the start of every single week. And obviously in this scenario it's going to be like lifting weights, but if you're going to go out and you want to do some cold approaching, you're going to speak to people, then you have to start somewhere. It might not be great, it might be embarrassing if you feel like that the level that you're at is that you're going to just have to give people compliments or ask for directions, or like a client that I had a couple of weeks ago, he just couldn't hold eye contact with people. So, we spent the session just practicing holding eye contact with strangers, like walking down the street, and me giving him the challenge saying, look, hey, I want you just to hold eye contact with one person for 1 second. We're going to do it on the length of this street. The street's about like 3 minutes or so long, and that's what I want you to do. And then he did it. And then it was like, right, okay, we're going to walk down another street and we're going to do 2 seconds. I want you to hold eye contact with someone for 2 seconds down the street. And he did it. And then it was 3 seconds on the next street. And point being is that he then took it to that point where he was able to ask for directions. Now, other people might hear this and think like, oh, well, that's absolutely ridiculous. How can he be at that sort of like stage and hang on. How can he be at that sort of like level and struggle? But you know what, you just don't know where people are in their lives and what kind of upbringing and challenging environments they've been in that's led them to be so neglected or neglecting how they've progressed personally. But you know what, I have admiration for people though who show up and they are committed to trying to work on themselves. And again, bringing it back to the reference of a gym, I've seen people who are overweight or they've got disabilities, and I have huge respect, no pun intended, I have huge respect for people who show up regularly and then they try their hardest to do something about it. I've still got a little bit further until I get to the gym. That's probably where I'll wrap the video in like 5-10 minutes or so. But yeah, you've got to show up, and it will be hard again with doing it. Let me just turn here. There's a lot of one-way systems around this area, so I have to, and I don't want to be naughty by not actually focusing on the road at the same time. So I mean, that's and that's kind of like really like self-development in a nutshell as well, that you've got to be consistent with it, with everything, and if you can just keep at it, if you want a girlfriend, if you are looking to make friends as well, or you're looking to just develop your confidence, your conversation skills, if you're not comfortable with it, then you have to just keep doing it over and over again until you become desensitized and you experience that exposure to the things that scare you as well. And then you get to a point where it's not really scary. It's not really, there's no really real fear to it either. Okay, I don't know if this might be a bit noisy because this part of the road is a bit bumpy. Okay, well, I hit a red light anyway. But yeah, I think it's just important. Like, if you want to get good at speaking to women, if that's something that you are scared of, then yeah, you've got to just keep putting yourself out there. You've got to keep showing up. You've got to keep, attending social events or putting yourself out there. And even if it's as simple as like trying to dedicate like 2 hours here and there to go out and practice cold approaching. And and if you don't feel that you can have a conversation yet, just be starting smaller build those reps up, get more comfortable giving people compliments or asking for directions, or like with my other client, holding eye contact. And eventually, just skip the bump here, you will be more comfortable. It's also sometimes, I think, hard to predict what that future can look like for someone. I know for me, like when I was starting out with the gym many years ago, I couldn't imagine myself having a good physique or a good body, or even a body that women would be like, oh wow, that's he's got a really sexy figure and all that. It's probably my ego talking as well, but hang on one sec. It's a bit narrow. There we go. But just keep doing it. Have that discipline and that courage to just keep putting yourself in situations that scare you, and just keep practicing speaking to people. And I promise you, in time, however much you might not see it now, but in time, I might be naughty here. Yeah, I'm going to be naughty here. I'm going to turn here. There we go. But in time, you will find that you'll get more confident, and you will have better conversations with women, and you will end up getting results as well. But sometimes, you just have to trust the journey, or trust the fact that you're not in the best or ideal place that you want to be in right now, and you are going to just have to, incrementally take those steps up. But as long as you're doing it regularly, you'll get better. You will inevitably get better. I don't think I've known anyone go to the gym and not work on their physique if they're lifting heavy weights, if they're on the running machine and actually doing something. Just doing something makes all the difference in the world. So I'm now at the gym anyway, so I mean that's where we'll wrap it. Thank you very much for watching. I'm gonna try and do, I think, maybe more of these, because at least this is probably like one of the stretches that I can at least be doing maybe these sorts of live streams. I mean, this was kind of like a trial one anyway, so I probably talked an absolute load of shit. I don't know, but I mean, I'm not used to multitasking with driving and doing a live stream at the same time, so I'm sure that will probably get better with practice. But again, if I do this regularly, if I can keep doing live streams in my car whilst I'm driving to the gym, I will eventually get comfortable with it, and I'll get good at it, and then exactly the same thing. So yeah, I'll try this, and definitely if you've got questions of stuff as well, then yeah, I mean, definitely let me know. I'd be keen to try and do these live streams based around answering your questions on things, especially if it's things that you're struggling with your social anxiety, or just like confidence stuff in relation to like women or meeting people and stuff as well. And see if I can try and make this more community based. I mean, I've had to turn the comments off, because otherwise that would just be a huge distraction for me with doing these. But and also, I suppose with driving as well, it's not going to be any easier. But yeah, I hope you found this useful. Like I say, I'll get more comfortable with doing these anyway, and I think you'll find that some of these live streams will be way more interesting, and it gives me a reason to try and compress it into 10, 12 or 15 minutes anyway. So thanks for watching. I've been Dan, that Danxiety guy. I'm going to go hit the gym now, and if you've got ideas for live stream topics that you want me to cover in sort of like under 15 minutes or less, then yeah, let me know, maybe in like my other videos, or I think you can comment on this video after it's been published. So yeah, let me know.